What's up, YouTube? I am the Average Doomsday Prepping Dude. Today is Thursday, March 19th, 2020. It is the first week of the coronavirus national emergency. I hope everyone is staying home and staying safe. And obviously, since this is a Doomsday Prepping channel, I may have some Doomsday Prepping videos in the near future. But for today, we're going to be working on the Walther PPQ, and I'm going to be putting in a Sprinco competition spring kit. It consists of two springs. One is the trigger return spring there, and a firing pin block plunger spring there. The process is pretty simple. If you've ever taken a Glock apart, the Walther PPQ Q5 is pretty similar. This is the steel frame, but the process should be the same for the regular polymer frame as well as the steel frame. I have not done this to my polymer frame, one that I have. I probably will. I really like the Q5s, which is why I got the steel frame. So let's get started. The only special tools I think you're going to need are some kind of small flathead screwdriver, as well as I have a paper clip with a little hook at the end. Basically just undo a paper clip, take some nose pliers and bend off a little hook right there to be able to grab the edge of the spring. So let's get started. Okay, so to get started, I've already taken out the trigger return spring. There's an open hook that you're going to want on the right hand side and a closed loop that you're going to want on the left side. You'll see why in just a second once I take everything apart. You're going to want to safety check the pistol, make sure it is not loaded because you're going to be pulling the trigger. Once the slide is locked back, you're going to put the slide lever up, release it, and then pull the trigger like a Glock, and then put the slide away. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to hold this with my left hand. I'm going to grab the paper clip, the little hook on it. I'm going to hook right underneath the spring, like so. Just going to give it a light tug, like so, and it should come free of that. I'm going to just hold it with my left hand. You're going to want to pull the trigger like so, because when you pull the trigger back, it actually is easy to pull the spring out because it gets, it gets into the area here where there's a little cutout that the spring can actually be loosened or removed and installed easier. So with the trigger in that, or trigger bar in that position, I'm going to take my new spring with the open part of the hook looped down there, and I'm going to just take the closed loop, put it in the back portion of the trigger bar like so. Gonna grab this, grab my paper clip hook, and just push it over like so. And now it is installed. Let's safety or function check the pistol. Make sure everything is working correctly. And yep, ooh, that feels really nice. I think the stock trigger is about 5.5 pounds. This feels like it's 3.5 pounds. Once we install the safety plunger or the firing pin plunger spring, it should lighten up even more. I don't have a trigger weight pull right now with me, but I'll do that later, and we'll see how light it goes. But for now, the trigger return spring feels really good and function tests just fine. So let's move on to the firing pin block plunger spring. Okay, so now that I've got the trigger return spring installed, let's go ahead and replace the firing pin block plunger spring there. Let's take the whole barrel and recoil spring assembly out. You're going to need a small screwdriver to be able to push in there, and like a Glock, once you depress this, this will just slide. It should just slide down. Yeah, slide down. Put your finger over that like that, and then this whole thing, your whole striker assembly will come out. Once you do that, you're going to want to depress this pin here, which will kind of pop out your extractor. You don't need to pull it out all the way. Let's see, is it coming out? Yep, so it'll come out like that. You don't need to pull it out all the way. Like I said, you can actually see it moving like so. Once you have that, this will come out. The plunger, firing pin block plunger will come out. Just take the spring off like so. Put the new one back in like so. Make sure when you have it, this little part that engages the top portion of the trigger bar is on the outside portion of the slide. So when you drop it back in, it will look like that. So the part that engages the trigger bar, again, is going to be on the outside of the slide. Just push this in. When you push it down, just drop this back in. Once it's back in, this little button will pop back up, and you can put everything back together like so. Put this in. And like a Glock, you're going to want to push this up part of the way. How am I going to do this? I have not put this back together ever, so let's figure this out. I'm going to push this down and just slide it in. Good. Okay. And this is my first time doing this, guys. Let's push this down. Okay, good. Put this back in. Put this in like so. And let's function test this. Wow. That makes all the difference in the world. I think it was a stock 5.5 pound trigger. This feels like it's 3 to 3.5 pounds. I'll pull out my my trigger weight gauge later, but I can already tell that this feels significantly better. Wow, that feels really great. So this Sprinco kit, like I said, is like 18 bucks on Ben Starker's website. I think you can get it on like Shooter's Connection as well. Definitely a huge improvement if you're shooting competitions, because you really want to have light trigger pulls. The reset feels really good. The break feels really good. Definitely an improvement over the stock trigger. I know PPQs already have really good triggers. I have a polymer PPQ myself. That's why I wanted to get a steel frame one. This thing feels amazing. I can't wait to shoot it. So that's how you put in a Sprinco competition trigger spring kit. Please like and subscribe. I'm going to have more Walther PPQ do-it-yourself videos in the future. This is probably the easiest one to do, or the most important one to do. And stay safe out there with the coronavirus, everyone, and I'll see you next time.